Hey there, I'm Gavin Stewart, and you're watching Bits and Bobs, a series of quick, random, interesting facts to keep your mind sharp and your senses invigorated. Let's go. Number 10. Anchorage. The city of Anchorage, Alaska is the capital city of the American state, with a population of about 300,000 people, which equates to more than 40% of the state's total population. The city is about the same distance away from New York City and Tokyo, and because of its location on the globe, Anchorage is within a 9.5-hour flight from 90% of the industrialized world. In light of this fact, it has rendered the city of Anchorage as a common stop for international cargo flights to refuel. One of FedEx's major cargo hubs is also in Anchorage, and they consider it essential to their global network. Number 9. Marmot. Of course, people aren't the only beings inhabiting the chilly northern state. The northern region of Alaska is inhabited by the Alaska marmot, also known as the Brooks Range marmot. They're the smallest species of marmot, and they feed on the typical rodent munchings of grass, berries, roots, plants, moss, and lichen. The Alaskan marmot has sometimes been hunted by indigenous peoples of Alaska for food and for their pelts of fur. It takes about 20 marmot pelts to make a parka. February 2nd is celebrated as Marmot Day in Alaska. Number 8. Genghis Khan. The man who would become Genghis Khan was born Temujin Borjigin around 1162 AD. He wouldn't earn the title of Genghis Khan until 1206 AD, when he was proclaimed the supreme leader of the Mongols. He had a rough upbringing and may have even murdered his own brother for food. Despite this, he became an honored warrior who rarely left matters unsettled and even promoted former enemies as generals in his own army. He was responsible for the deaths of up to 40 million people. Number 7. Salt and pepper. The ubiquitous spices can be found on nearly every dinner table in the Western world. But what brought them there? The salt started in China in 450 BC, when brine was boiled dry in iron pans. The Romans brought this process to Europe. Because of salt's value at the time, Romans were paid their wages in salt. Pepper originates from Kerala, India, and has been exported from South Asia for 4,000 years. In its early days, pepper was also very valuable, and by the time it arrived in Europe, tenants would pay their rent with it. When new production techniques arrived and new trade routes opened up to bring down the cost of salt and pepper, with the celebrity endorsement of a famous French chef during the Enlightenment period, the combination of salt and pepper at the table reached the masses. From there, it became common in Britain as well. The rest is tasteful history. Number 6. KIBIBYTE. It sounds like the term kilobyte, which means 1,000 bytes of binary data, but KIBIBYTE is a bit different. A kibibyte is 1,024 bytes of data, which is a perfect exponential of 2. The binary prefix kibi is a mix of the words kilo, meaning 1,000, and binary. Without complicating things too much, the distinction between kibibytes and kilobytes is the reason why that new hard disk you bought shows up as less capacity than advertised. Number 5. BitTorrent. Most likely, if you're downloading movies and TV shows for free, you're doing it with BitTorrent, the peer-to-peer file-sharing protocol that got its start in 2001 when Bram Cohen, the former University at Buffalo student, designed and released the first version. With BitTorrent, the files being shared or seeded are uploaded to the other connected computers or peers on the network. These peers share some of the same file data amongst themselves, speeding up the file transfer process. This is why when you seed a torrent, you could get yourself in hot water with copyright holders. Be careful out there. Number 4. Quantum computing. Quantum computing is the next level of computing that the human race will use to improve technology everywhere. All computers, phones, and smart devices, and even things like calculators around the world are all classical computers. When quantum computers arrive, the game is going to change completely. Scientists have already worked out some of the programs that will run on these advanced quantum computers. Take, for instance, Shor's algorithm, which can be used with a quantum computer to quickly decrypt RSA encrypted data. Number 3. Magnetic refrigeration. Due to a property of physics called the magnetocaloric effect, magnetism can be used to cool objects down, provided they are metallic, that is. An example of a magnetic refrigerator works like this. When a magnetic field is applied to a piece of metal, then taken away, the metal cools down. This effect is amplified when a substance such as helium is used to carry away heat. While it would be cool to have home refrigeration without toxic coolants, this kind of refrigeration is only used in laboratories and hasn't been adapted for widespread use yet. For now, it's a distant dream. Number 2. Rice. You may have been told not to eat rice that has been stored in a refrigerator, but what even is rice? Rice is the seed of a species of grass called Oryza sativa. Rice is the third most produced agricultural commodity in the world, with about 741.5 million tons produced in 2014. Rice production is labor-intensive and requires a considerable amount of water, making it a well-suited crop for regions with low labor costs and high rainfall. Although rice needs a lot of water and a lot of work to produce, it can be grown nearly anywhere. Number 1. Gluten. For a final factoid, we come to that of gluten. What exactly is gluten? Gluten is a family of proteins found in grains like wheat, rye, spelt, and barley. Of these gluten-containing grains, wheat is by far the most common. The two main proteins of gluten are glutenin and gliadin. Gliadin is responsible for most of the problems associated with gluten. When flour and water are mixed, the gluten proteins form a sticky mass with a glue-like consistency, which is where gluten gets its name. The glue-like structure gives the dough elasticity, allowing it to rise when baked. It also gives a satisfying texture. Gluten does present problems for people with allergies or intolerance, but if you eat bread and you feel fine afterwards, there's no real reason to avoid gluten unless you want to avoid the calories. And that concludes this episode of B&B. If you liked it, be sure to click that like button, leave us a comment below, and subscribe for more. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next episode.